Someone once told me the only reason people share status updates on Facebook is to make others jealous. Well, that may not be true exactly. I mean, no one wants to be known as an egotist. But it is true that people will share information for a reason. People want to build their sense of personal worth and self-esteem. People share information on social media to self-enhance. Mother Nature wants us to be successful. And I don't mean making lots of money, that isn't success. I mean achieving in life with our relationships. When we're successful with our relationships with others, then there's more chance our genes will get passed on and we'll survive. Mother Nature wants humans as a species to survive. And it does this by motivating humans to have families and being able to look after and nurture those families. The mechanism that Mother Nature uses to control how successful we are in our relationships with others is related to our mental well-being, and it's known as self-esteem. Self-esteem is essentially how good we feel about ourselves. When we have high self-esteem, we're more likely to be happy and have successful relationships with others around us. Self-enhancement is one way that people protect their self-esteem. It's an interpersonal activity aimed at boosting beliefs that one is a lovable and capable human being. This is often achieved by comparing ourselves to others. When we feel we are better than others, it makes us feel good. It boosts our self-esteem. As a result, people manage information about themselves to convince themselves that they are capable human beings. People strive to deny undesirable aspects about themselves. Self-enhancement is about enhancing one's positive strengths and achievements. As part of self-enhancement, we all have a tendency to have overly positive evaluations about ourselves. Think we have more control over our destiny than we actually do, and for the most part, be overly optimistic. Gamblers, for example, may think they're good at gambling, having a better chance of winning than the statistics would otherwise suggest. Accordingly, gamblers often convince themselves that this time they won't fail. Self-enhancement motives convince the gambler that they can win. So it's not necessarily that your friends are trying to make you jealous, but rather that they're attempting to put themselves in a good light in comparison to others. That photo of your friend on an exotic trekking holiday is designed to make them feel good, not make you feel bad, even though it might have the unintended effect of making you feel envious. Knowing that others in their network might not have the same opportunity as them improves their self-esteem. People estimate how others will feel. Content that makes people laugh or otherwise feel something is more likely to get likes and comments. One way to get a shot of self-esteem is from positive feedback. On social media, this usually means sharing stuff that people know will get them engagement. People get a shot of self-esteem when someone appraises or acknowledges something they've shared. Getting positive recognition for sharing something on social media is like a pat on the back or earning respect. It helps the sharer to feel good about themselves. In fact, there's a risk with sharing since not getting engagement can have a negative effect on their self-esteem. If the recognition is insufficient, people would rather delete the content than suffer perceived judgment from others against their failed efforts. Not getting a reaction has a negative effect on their self-esteem. So people prefer to share content they believe will get engagement. What is shareable? It always starts with understanding the value system of who it is you want to share to. Usually your target market, those people who you want as customers. Take, for example, the goth culture. Part of being a gothic is looking the part with the black clothes, the black nail polish, and the pale skin. Gothics go out of their way to look morbid. As with other groups in society, Members of the Gothic culture are bound by the same values, beliefs, and interests. Hipsters grow big beards, sports fans wear their team colours, and surfers wear their board shorts. Wearing the outfits and adornments of a group in society signals to others which group we identify with. So why is this? It's because humans are tribal. We're social animals who prefer to live and socialize in groups. It's partly for protection and partly for survival. It's phylogenetic, in other words, it's biologically programmed into us. So how does this relate to sharing then? Well, knowing the values of your customer gives marketers insight into what types of content their target audience is likely to share. Gothic conversation is likely to revolve around Gothic music or Gothic-looking clothes or something else that they share an interest in. These things define their value system. For example, Gothics use membership cues in conversations to validate their shared membership. Sharing images of a Gothic nature allows members of the Gothic culture to signal their allegiance and membership, just like wearing black. If you identify what it is that binds your target market together, you're halfway there. However, oftentimes it's not plainly obvious. To create shareable content, you really need to understand your customers' values. Not just what their interests are, but what really matters to them. Take, for example, Australian surfing brand QUICKSILVER. While their competitors were busy taking the same old photos of surfers inside the barrel of a huge wave, they cleverly identified and tapped into the Australian surfers' value system to create something that did go viral. They identified another unique part of the surfers' culture and value system. All surfers care deeply about the environment and the health of the ocean. So, QUICKSILVER produced an image that featured a surfer riding inside the barrel of a large wave, like a standard surfing-type promotional advertisement. However, they made the image appeal to their target audience's value system in a very clever way. The photo was taken on the island Java, an iconic surf location in Indonesia. It's a very common scene used for surf advertisements, but this one had a very special difference. The difference was that there were pieces of pollution clearly visible in the water, including food wrappers and other pollutants that obviously didn't belong. The image of the man surfing a beautifully perfect wave in clear blue skies, though tainted by the presence of the pollution, created a shocking contrast. If you're a member of the surfing culture, you'll know that the health of the ocean is something that all surfers hold dear to their hearts. The image was highly shareable because it enabled surfers to signal membership cues based on their environmental concerns. And it was at a legendary surf spot. The only difference between the QUICKSILVER pollution ad and any other typical surf ad was the presence of the pollution. The typical image of a man surfing a perfect wave would likely have never gone viral because it's something that's tied to surfers' interests rather than their core value system. Things that get shared tend to appeal to people's value systems more than just appealing to their interests. Surfers care about waves. Sure they do. That's common amongst all surfers, and it's part of the culture here in Australia. But one thing that all surfers value is the search for the perfect wave. Australian surf brand QUICKSILVER wanted to appeal to their target market by integrating the freedom and lifestyle of the surf culture with a unique location. Rather than using the usual beach scene, they set the scene in the middle of a city. The video ad begins by showing a group of young men walking the streets, with one of them holding a surfboard under his arm. The movie uses shaky, low-resolution footage to create the illusion that the group are being filmed happenstance by someone with a mobile phone. They come across a city pond with a bridge over it. The one with the surfboard, he unzips it from its cover and paddles out into the middle of the pond. As he's paddling out, the rest of the men start crossing the bridge. When they're halfway across, They produce a cluster of dynamite sticks. One of them lights the dynamite and lobs it into the pond. The resulting explosion causes a huge wake that actually turns into a surfable wave. The man with the surfboard paddles to catch the wave and starts surfing it. Punk music plays as his friends whoop and holler in the background. The movie appealed perfectly to the culture of Australian surfers. One thing that surfers spend a lot of time talking about is locations around the world and where to catch that perfect wave. It's freedom and the perfect wave. Creating an explosion in a pond in the middle of a city, that's the most unusual surf location you can get.